You are the best thing in my life. Sunny days and starry nights that never end. You make me laugh, you make me cry, you make me come alive. I'll come alive again. I'll come alive. I'll come alive again.
Hello everyone, happy Halloween. Welcome to this special episode of Celeste Quest featuring an October special all about pumpkins. So I am your pumpkin queen today, and I hope you'll learn something new. But I have a little pumpkin special all planned out for you today. Now, since it is still COVID time and we're streaming everything, I'll tell you what my tradition was in the past. In past years, my wife and I have hosted a pumpkin carving party. We've done this for about 8 years now, and we always have different people that have shown up throughout the years, people that can, people get busy, there's always things going on, so it's always a different crowd. And up until now, we've done this every year. We didn't do it this year, so I do not have a carved pumpkin for you. But in past years, what I would do is I would invite everyone to bring their pumpkin, and then we would have all of the pumpkin carving tools and everything outside on the patio. And I would also ask everyone to use their creativity in the kitchen if they can. Some people don't like to do that no matter what. But to come up with something pumpkin based. It could be pumpkin spice, which we're going to talk about today, but pumpkin spice does not actually contain any real pumpkin. So, but it could be pumpkin spice or it could be actual pumpkin recipes, savory or sweet. So in the past, we've had some amazing dishes that people have brought, including some curried pumpkin with Greek yogurt and mint and pita. That was one of my favorites that somebody brought one year. I would do pumpkin curry stews sometimes. We've done pumpkin enchiladas. There's been all kinds of recipes. Of course, tons of pumpkin cookies and pumpkin breads and pumpkin this and that. There's so much that can be done with pumpkin, because if you've ever actually had pumpkin meat, like the pumpkin flesh, it is very bland. So it doesn't really have a lot of flavor of its own. So you need to cook it different ways and add spices or seasonings like pumpkin spice if you want to go towards the sweet. Or you could add curries, or you could add some salt and pepper even. But it just doesn't have a very potent flavor all by itself. And now people may disagree because there are so many different varieties of pumpkin. So what are we talking about when we talk about pumpkin? Well, we're talking about these gourds that grow usually on vines, and most of us, oh my God, this thing is heavy. Most of us are used to this kind right here, this guy. This is, oh my goodness, this pumpkin probably weighs about 10 pounds. But this is what you would usually see, and this is a great kind of pumpkin for carving. Some of the other pumpkins for different reasons might not be the best varieties for carving, but this would be your standard jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, and there might be even another name for it, but there's a lot of other names. Oh, let's put this guy down. Oh my goodness. We have another one, this little tiny white one I have. He's not perfect, but he's beautiful. You're a beautiful pumpkin. But it's a little white pumpkin. I'm not exactly sure what this pumpkin is. There are several varieties of white pumpkins. I'm thinking this might be the flat white boar pumpkin. See, it's a little bit flat. Because there's also the Lumina white pumpkins, which are gonna look more like your jack-o'-lantern pumpkin with a smooth surface, and it's a pure white. And then there's also the cotton candy pumpkin. And I'm not even sure if the cotton candy and the Lumina aren't the same kind of pumpkins, because a lot of different cultures have different names for these pumpkins. So you've got the blue Jarradale pumpkin. It's a blue or a blue-green pumpkin, depending on who's looking at it. You've got the Lumina, which is the white pumpkin. You've got the Cinderella pumpkin, which is kind of like your classic orange pumpkin that you would have seen, just like from the movie Cinderella, when the pumpkin turns into the carriage. So, but it has more of an exaggerated curvature to it, like myself. And then you've got things like the Long Island cheese pumpkin, which has a more of a pastel orange color to it, almost tan. You've got a knucklehead pumpkin, which is kind of cool. Knucklehead pumpkins, you wouldn't want to carve them up. They already have a really neat look. They sometimes have little wart looks around them, and they've got some brilliant oranges and greens, but they can be a very beautiful decorative pumpkin. You've also got the mini pumpkins. The minis, they come in orange and white. And you've got the galouse or peanut pumpkin, which is the one that's got tons and tons and tons of warty stuff going on all around the outside. That's called the peanut pumpkin. They're kind of ugly, remind you of what those stereotypes of the old witches, but they're just real warty looking pumpkins. And then you get the flat white boar pumpkins, the porcelain doll pumpkin, which is kind of, it's almost like a pastel orange with whites in it. And it's a really pretty pumpkin. And you've got the blaze pumpkin, which has like oranges and yellows, kind of like my flowers behind me, but really brilliant oranges and yellows, very beautiful. You got the cotton candy, and the Lumina also can be a rouge vif d'antan. Or maybe, I'm sorry, not the Lumina, the Cinderella. That might be another name for it. And you have the pie pumpkins, which generally have the best kind of flavor. They have a lot of meat in them, and they're really tasty. All of these are pretty much the same vegetable. I think they're vegetables. They might be actually fruits. They're gourds, but they're going to have similar flavors, similar textures. They're going to have the seeds in the middle, and they're going to be full of all kinds of nutrition. We're also going to talk about the health benefits of pumpkin for those, since we are a health and wellness network. So today, I've got to tell you, I'm drinking some tea. It's that time of year. It's already fall. We've had some brisk mornings. It's still warm in the day. And this is an Arabic tea that is... This is an Arabic tea that is like an apple flavor. This was just gifted to me, so I decided to have a nice cup of it on this episode. So let me tell you a little bit about the history. What's fun is to learn something new. Don't you love to learn something new? Now I do, and I'm always learning something new every day, and I love random information. In fact, I might be the queen of random information. Now, let's look at the history of jack-o'-lanterns. Jack-o'-lantern is any carved pumpkin, turnip, or root vegetable that's been made into a lantern and is associated with Halloween. Named for the strange phenomenon of light flickering over peat bogs. I've never been to a peat bog, so I don't know about this strange phenomenon. I've never seen it with my own peepers. But it's called, also called a will-o'-the-wisp, or jack-o'-lantern, which is where that phrase came from. But jack-o'-lanterns actually come from one specific region in the world. They started in Ireland, and I'm a little Irish actually. I've got a lot of Irish on my maternal side of my family. So in Irish lore, the name is tied to the legend of Stingy Jack, a drunkard who bargained with Satan and was doomed to roam the earth with only a hollowed turnip to light his way. The tradition of jack-o'-lanterns was brought to the USA by Irish immigrants, which my ancestors were, during Samhain and Halloween. So traditionally it started in Halloween back in the 19th century. And first, before pumpkins, people discovered that they could hollow out turnips. So before pumpkins, predating the pumpkin, were turnips. Can you imagine? And I've seen a couple pictures of these, and they look pretty creepy. Like, I would be a little bit weirded out if I saw somebody do a turnip. And anyway, so, but there are pumpkins, technically in all gourds, are really fruits, but also root vegetables can be used. And so they would use these back in the 19th century as a way to ward off evil spirits, because in Irish culture, there's a lot of superstitions as well, because you have a really rich history with the Celtics and the Druids and a lot of the paganism. And Halloween is also called Samhain or Samhain. You might see that word somewhere, but that's all a celebration of this time of year. And anyway, they would use these pumpkins to ward off evil spirits by representing with faces some kind of supernatural being. So that's a little bit of history of the jack-o'-lantern. There's a lot more history you can delve into. You just go on Wikipedia. There's so much to go into. It would take a whole episode just to talk about the history of pumpkins and Halloween alone. But we're going to get into a little bit of some of the things today. We're going to talk about the nutritional benefits of not only pumpkins as a fruit, but as the seeds that they contain, which are really packed with nutritional benefits. So not only do we get to, don't throw out all that flesh. Once you carve your pumpkins, you can use all that stuff. Don't throw it away. And at the very least, you can even throw some of the guts into your garden or your compost piles. But you definitely have a lot of great things that you can use inside of these pumpkins. And like I said, there's a ton of recipes. If you just start looking at pumpkin recipes, there are so many sweet and savory recipes that are pretty much good for any diet. I haven't met anybody yet that says they're allergic to pumpkin. However, pumpkin itself can be a little bit higher on the carb count if you are somebody who's doing a low carb lifestyle. Otherwise, if you're vegan, if you're paleo, if you're vegetarian, it shouldn't be able to fit most diets, omnivores obviously as well. But there's so many things you can do with pumpkin. So we're going to talk about the nutritional benefits, maybe some recipe ideas, but we're also I'm going to teach you how to make your own pumpkin spice mix. You can just go to the store and buy pumpkin spice, but you might already have all the ingredients that you need right in your own kitchen cabinet. So we'll talk about how to make some pumpkins. Hello everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. Okay, so for this segment, we're going to talk about the nutritional profile of pumpkins. I'm really passionate about nutrition. This is one of my favorite parts about learning about food, is to find out about how healthy they are for us and what they do for our body and our internal systems. And pumpkin is one of those things that's just full of all kinds of nutrition, but not only in the flesh of the pumpkin, but also in the seeds. So we're going to talk about the nutritional profile for both. I'm really passionate about nutrition. I've struggled with my weight for my entire life. And when I was young, the big fad was to do low fat, but not really nutritious food. So you could eat anything as long as it was low fat, even if it had been nutritionally devoid for you. And you know what? Sometimes skinny isn't always healthy. So I'm a pretty healthy girl for being a big girl, and I definitely love to look at nutrition, and I think you're gonna learn something new about this. But let's just dive right into this pumpkin. My wife, she is eager to eat the pumpkin seeds that are in this pumpkin. So she's already carved the top for me so that I can just show you what's inside of this pumpkin. All right, as you can see, a lot of the flesh is still hanging on for dear life there, as well as these little clusters of seeds, which are also called pepitas. But let's talk about the health benefits of the pumpkin itself. 1 cup of the flesh of pumpkin contains 245% of your daily recommended intake of vitamin A. And vitamin A is an amazing vitamin because it comes from the rich orange color that you see here, and it's full of beta carotene, which is a very powerful antioxidant found in all orange fruits. It's what gives it its color. So beta carotene, you might remember, beta carotene also is found in carrots. So carrots, garnet, yams, and other yellow and orange squashes and fruits, things like papaya will also have beta carotenes. Anything with a really nice orange or yellow color, that's going to be your beta carotenes. Now, beta carotene is actually converted to vitamin A in your body, and then it can be used for all different things. It can use to fight oxidative stress from free radicals at a cellular level, and it also will support your immune system. It helps improve your eyesight, and even can protect your body from cancers. So it's a great thing to include in your diet. I'm not saying that, and by the way, you always have to give the disclaimer that I'm not saying that eating pumpkins is going to keep you from getting cancer. Absolutely, I'm not saying that. But however, it can give your body some of the tools that it needs to protect itself. Okay? It's a low-calorie food with high fiber and only has 49 calories. So if you are a calorie counter, if you're doing low calorie, if you're paleo, if you're vegetarian, if you're vegan, this is going to fit right into your diet, and it's a great way to it's a great food to include, because it's so versatile and you can do a lot of things. If you're keto or low carb, this is probably not going to be something that you want to eat too much of, because it's going to contain 12 carbs in that cup with 3 grams of fiber. So you're looking at a net carb of 9 carbs in a cup of pumpkin. but it's probably not going to do you that bad, but it might knock you out of ketosis, which is the whole point of being keto, right? So, but it's also rich in a lot of other minerals, most notably containing 19% of your daily vitamin C. So there you go. We need our immune system building vitamin C because COVID, right? And flu season is upon us as well. So we want to improve our immune systems. It also contains 16% of your potassium, another very, very important vitamin, 11% of copper and manganese, and 8% of iron, which can be sometimes difficult to find in your diet. So that's just talking about the flesh. Now, keto lovers rejoice. You can have pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds, these fun little things hanging here, also called pepitas. I don't know if you like to eat them with the shell or without the shell. Usually I like them without the shell. However, sometimes I get really lazy and I just munch on the shell. But you can also buy them in little packs of snacks where have already been shelled for you. Now, just one small handful. Now, when you're talking about any kind of nuts and seeds, you can't have a cup. A cup is way too much. It's gonna have because these are really high, densely nutritious, but also contains really high calories and high fat content. So a small handful, which we're looking at about 28 grams, which is what you're going to have whenever you have a nut or a seed. You want 28 grams as generally the serving size. And you're going to, in that little amount, you're going to have about 150 calories, but you're also going to get about 7 grams of protein, and you're going to get 13 grams of heart-healthy polyunsaturated fats. Now, we used to have a fat phobia in this country. We still do, I think, in some areas, but we're starting to learn more about the different kinds of fats and how they can be very nutritionally beneficial to our bodies, especially to our brains, our skin, and our hearts. So we have to throw out some of the old dogma when it comes to health, and remember that polyunsaturated fats are really, really good for you. But not only that, this also contains 18% of your daily recommended vitamin K, 33% phosphorus, 42% manganese, 37% magnesium, and 23% iron. Now, most people are deficient in magnesium, so it's really good to be able to add that into your diet. And you might have heard that little beeping in the background. That's because my Instant Pot just finished a soup that I'm making, a guajillo chicken soup, because it is soup season. Soup season is upon us. Anyway, so it contains 23% of your iron, 14% of your zinc. Now, zinc is a very, 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 very important vitamin. Not only is it going to help support your immune system and build your immune system and be very strong, and some of the early studies of COVID have found that taking zinc can help protect our bodies from COVID and a lot of different illnesses. So zinc improves your immune system, and then it also is really good for your sex drive. In fact, they found that zinc can improve sperm quality and sperm count, and it also can improve your sleep because pumpkin contains tryptophan, or the pumpkin seeds contain tryptophan, and zinc converts tryptophan to serotonin, which changes then to melatonin, therefore helping your sleep. So also notably, they contain antioxidants, potassium B2, which is riboflavin, which helps your cells absorb different vitamins and nutrients, as well as folate. So there's a lot of different benefits. Pumpkin seeds are known to help maybe lower your blood sugars, and again, help with your sleep, help with your sex drive, help with your immune system. So we're looking at a lot of health benefits. And like I said, anybody can have these unless you have an allergy, a food allergy to pumpkin seeds specifically. You can have them on pretty much any diet. So I really strongly recommend you trying some pumpkin seeds. Have it as a great snack. Take them to work with you and get a pumpkin. And don't you dare throw those pumpkin seeds in the garbage. You just have to get your hands a little dirty, pull the meat off of them, put them on a pan, set your oven to about 350 degrees, and then put a little bit of rock salt or any kind of salt really, but I use pink Himalayan salt on the seeds. You can even put other things, like you can get really creative in your kitchen. You could put things like garlic powder on them or chili powder, and you can create these seeds. Just leave them in the oven for about 20 minutes or until they're kind of toasted looking, but you don't want to burn them. The house will stink. They're totally gross, nasty. You know who else loves pumpkin seeds? My buddy Wazo, my parrot. He loves pumpkin seeds, and any birds usually do like them as well. And you can easily grow pumpkins. You can take any of these seeds, plant them in your garden, and see what pops up next season. All right. Well, that's all I have for the nutrition. Next up, we're going to talk about how to make your own pumpkin spice, which unfortunately, we will not need this to create pumpkin spice. All we're going to need is a few spices. So here is my little pumpkin basket. And in this pumpkin basket, I have a jar that I have cleaned and made ready to put some spices in. We've got the lid to the little jar. This was just a regular spice jar. You can save and reuse. Here's the lid for the jar. I've got my measuring spoons right here. And then I've got the ingredients to make pumpkin spice. Now, pumpkin spice is really just a few ingredients. Let me get my recipe out for you. Okay, so you're gonna need cinnamon. I have a lot because I shop at Costco. So here's my cinnamon, but I had to go and buy the rest of them. Usually you have all of these. You can go and buy pumpkin spice easily at any supermarket. They're gonna have pumpkin spice for sale. But most people have these ingredients in their kitchen, so why go buy another spice when you can make it yourself? You're gonna need 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. I've got the Saigon cinnamon here. I can smell it already. And you're gonna need 2 teaspoons of organic ground ginger. Okay, it doesn't have to be organic. I bought organic. So you can get some ground ginger. Ginger's got a lot of health benefits too. I could do probably a whole episode on just ginger alone. You're also going to need ground cloves. Got some ground cloves here. And some nutmeg. I actually had to go and shop for these, so we'll see how these open. They probably have all the seals intact. Yes, they do. So let's just, while I'm trying to open these, let's talk about different things you can do with pumpkin spice. Once you make this spice, what the heck are you gonna do with it? You can do a lot of things, trust me. So pumpkin spice literally has nothing to do with pumpkin. I mean, it's been used in pumpkin for many different kinds of pumpkin recipes, and you can use some of the pumpkin flesh that you get from your pumpkins, or you can buy the canned pumpkin, whatever, or you can use it with things like apples, or some of the suggestions that I have for your pumpkin spice is you could sprinkle it on ice cream or frozen yogurt. Wow, this one does not want to open for me. Okay, we're struggling. Got it. The ginger did not want to open. If they had the other flavors in organic, I would have gotten everything in organic. I really prefer to have everything organic, but my cinnamon's not even organic. And I'm going to avoid using my teeth to open any of these things. We're trying to be sanitary here. If you guys weren't on there, I would probably be like ripping this open with my teeth. Okay, now you know. Okay, so there's the ginger. We got the nutmeg open. Last but not least, we're gonna open the ground cloves. So these are just some of your traditional spices you probably have in your cabinet. And anyway, so you can do things like you can make scones with pumpkin spice. You can make bagels, muffins, I mean, cupcakes, pumpkin spice bread, pumpkin spice pancakes. That's an easy one. You can make pancakes, and there are such thing as keto pancakes, by the way, and paleo. You can make pumpkin spice waffles. You could make pumpkin spice bread specifically. If you have vanilla ice cream, you could sprinkle some of the pumpkin spice right on top of that ice cream, put it in your Greek yogurt, it would be delicious. You could also add it to your coffee. You could add it to tea with a little cream, make a latte. There's just unlimited things you can do. If you are a creative cook in the kitchen, you can find a lot to do with pumpkin spice if that's your thing. If you are a basic witch, you're gonna love your pumpkin spice. All right, so you can even do pumpkin spice tamales. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's enough. You can figure out what to do with the pumpkin spice. But in the meantime, here's how to make it. You're gonna need 4 teaspoons. Find my teaspoon. Here's my teaspoon. 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. Okay. I'm just gonna dump that right into my, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I don't have 2 cameras, I have 1. Remember, this is all home recording. There's nobody recording me. I do not have a production team. We'll get there. Maybe we'll get there. If this show takes off, maybe I'll get a production team. But in the meantime, this is 100% this girl doing the video editing, the filming, and whatnot. And then occasionally I can call on my wife, help, if I need anything. So here's, we did 1 teaspoon. Here's the 2nd teaspoon of cinnamon. Fortunately, I've got my Mrs. Purple People Eater apron on. I was the Purple People Eater a few years ago for Halloween. So then we're gonna do the 3rd teaspoon of cinnamon and the 4th teaspoon of cinnamon. You guys are gonna spend all this time, she is taking her time trying to get that cinnamon out of there. So there's 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. Most of it made it in there. And then we have 2 teaspoons of ground ginger. And for this, I'm gonna pop the whole lid off of here. 2 teaspoons of ground ginger. I use I just washed my apron, by the way. So using my apron to clean the cinnamon off here so I don't get the ginger in my cinnamon, the cinnamon in my ginger. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of the ginger. Right, I guess we're just using the teaspoon here. Oh no, we have a half teaspoon coming up too. 2 teaspoons of ginger. This is a little harder to get to. These teaspoon does not fit into my teeny tiny containers. So there's 2 teaspoons of the ginger, and we have 1 teaspoon of the clove. 1 teaspoon of cloves, which is very strong. Cloves also have a lot of health benefits as well to them. Most notably, let's tell you this while I'm making this, if you ever have a toothache, just take some clove, and you can even you can either pack it into the tooth where it hurts, or you can make a little swish with some clove, and kind of helps get rid of the pain. You could also stick a clove back in your mouth as well. But it kind of has like a little bit of an anesthetic property to it. And you have half teaspoon of ground nutmeg. So we need to go down a size. Here's the half teaspoon. Here's the nutmeg. I love nutmeg. A lot of times, most people only use it in eggnog or in certain recipes, but nutmeg is one of my favorites. So as you can see, kind of looks like I'm doing one of those sand glasses, but there's my spices. I've made a little powdery mess in front of me. Smells good though. And then, so I've got all 4, that's it. So if you didn't hear me, it's 4 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of ground clove, and a half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Put your little lid on. Actually, I'll put that on first. Then put my lid on. And then we're gonna shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Shake your pumpkin spice. Now you got your basic witch pumpkin spice ready for the season, and probably just enough. Now, it did say store for 6 months, but however long you keep your spices is up to you. I don't know how old some of my spices are, honestly. I think I've gotten rid of the ones that were more than 10 years old, but it says to store this for 6 months. You'll probably if you're anything like me, you'll probably have it until next Halloween. I don't use pumpkin spice that often, but I'm gonna go ahead and whiff this, but if it ends up going up my nose and I sneeze my head off, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that smells like pumpkin spice. Very, very yummy. So there you go. There you have it. There's your pumpkin spice ready for the season. If you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear some of your favorite things that you use pumpkin spice for. anything that you've made this season. I have this keto pancake mix by Birch Benders. I'm going to add this to that and make my own pumpkin spice pancakes. You could actually add this to a nice butter, whip it up, use a whipped butter, and then put it in the refrigerator, and then put a pumpkin spice whipped butter on whatever you want, on your sweets or on your pastries or whatever you have. You could also take a nut butter, add whatever sweetener of your choice, some eggs, and pumpkin spice seasoning, and you could make your own pumpkin spice cookies that are, you can make them low carb or whatever you want, paleo, anything. I try to be friendly and aware that not everybody can have anything. So I try to make sure that I'm inclusive of people with different diets. But that's pretty much my show today. So I've showed you how to make pumpkin spice, and then we talked about the history of jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins, as well as talking about the nutritional profile of eating pumpkin and pumpkin seeds. And we talked about all the different kinds of pumpkins there are. So I think I've pumpkined you all out. I've pumpkined myself out. But thank you guys for watching my show. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Celeste's quest for her best life every day.
In the cool of the evening, when everything is getting kinda groovy, I call you up and ask you, would you like to go with me and see a movie? First you say no, you got some plans for the night, and then you stop and say alright. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little girl like you. You always keep me guessing, I never seem to know what you are thinking. And if the fella looks at you, it's for sure that little eye will be a-winking. I get confused, 'cause I don't know where I stand. And then you smile and hold my hand. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little girl like you. Spooky. Stop this little game that you are playing. I'm gonna tell you all the things my heart's been a-dying to be saying. Just like a ghost, you've been a-haunting my dreams, so you'll propose on Halloween. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little girl like you. Spooky. 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 Spooky.
Thanks for watching my episode today.